order this regular meeting of the Rushford Peterson School Board. It is Monday, September 19th, 5:30 p.m. We have Director Miro is with us via Skype from the Air Force Lodge, 14 Summit Drive, Minot, North Dakota. We have a roll call, please.
Valerie Howe.
Here.
Joyce Iverson.
Here.
Julie Cope.
Here.
John Linder.
Here.
Dean Merrill.
Here.
Taylor Peterson. John Pettit.
Here.
Hayden Stensgaard.
Thank you. First will be the adoption of the agenda.
We do have one addition under consent agenda items under personnel. Please add hiring of Melissa Kupik as the junior class advisor. Kupik is spelled C-I-U-P-I-K. Am I pronouncing that right? Kupik. Thank you.
Let's go under
Under personnel. Melissa Kupik. Otherwise, I have no other additions or corrections to the agenda.
Look for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make some motion.
Motion by Howe. Is there a second?
Cope, second.
Second by Cope. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 4, public comments are heard, limited to 5 minutes per person. Mrs. Leah Mensing-Jacobson, you wish to address the board?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
My name is Leah Mensing-Jacobson. I'm a parent of 2 current students in the Rushford-Peterson district, as well as a child who's already graduated. I'm here to express concerns regarding equal education for all students in the district. The Rushford-Peterson School District provides a list of student rights. These rights include the right to a free and full education and the right to equal educational opportunities for all students. The one-to-one Chromebook initiative is presented as an optional program. Our family has opted out of the one-to-one device initiative. We have opted out of the program for many reasons, including the cost of a device, the disposability of new technology and wastefulness of individual devices, the safety and security of the device and the school not assuming liability, the expectation of personal interaction between teachers and students in the classroom, the preference for hands-on and experiential learning versus online instruction, the importance of learning how to do things without the aid of technology, opposing the idea of always having to be connected or having a device in hand, the recommendation of health professionals to limit screen time, teaching children the difference between needs and wants, and valuing time at home as a family without distractions from technology. We informed our child's teachers at the high school open house that we have opted out of the program. If it becomes an issue that our child is not receiving the same educational opportunities in the classroom due to not having a personal device, what will the school district do to maintain our students' educational rights? I would like to hear from the superintendent and principal how the district will ensure that all students receive a free, full, and equal education when not all students participate in what is presented as an optional program. On a different but related matter, we are aware that the administration has proposed turning snow days into online learning days. If school is canceled due to weather, students would need to view the teacher's lessons on the school website. We are a family who does not have internet access at home. We also do not live in town, so the public library is not easily accessible, especially in poor weather conditions. I do not believe the administration has fully thought out what will happen with students who do not have home internet access, a home computer, students who go to daycare, or a relative's home during a snow day, students whose parents or caretakers are unable to assist them with online learning. If I wanted my children to be taught online, I would enroll them in an online school. If the school proceeds with this proposal, you would again be creating unequal education among students. The Minnesota Department of Education State Ombudsman has offered me assistance in advocating for the equal educational rights of all students in our public school district. I expect that the school board and administration of the Rushford-Peterson School District will thoughtfully consider the concerns I have raised and will ensure that the rights of all students to a free, full, and equal education are upheld. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 5, new school progress update. Tim Robertson, ICS Consulting. Tim, what have you got for us tonight?
Hi, ladies and gentlemen of the board. If it's okay, I'll stay on my laptop and just, we have no change orders, so there's no financial aspect to really discuss. So I was just going to give you an overview of percentages of completion of where we stand on the actual project. With that being said, overall, based on billing percentages, the project sits at 45% complete. So that actually, that's putting us a little bit ahead of the schedule, so we're establishing some room for error if we ever do come up on any. We don't anticipate it, but it's at 45%. That's great news for us as far as the actual overall building envelope. The CMU and the foundations, we're standing about 76% to 80%. So that's the actual slabs inside the building are coming down. So that's, they're laying in just great. So that's actually allowing us to dry in, bring more materials inside the project and actually work outside here, work out of the mud. Windows are starting to show up. They're starting to come in. Our aluminum, the exterior fixed windows are starting to come in. They're roughly 25%. They're along the front if you have driven by or seen the project lately. They're in the front and the back of the actual classrooms proper, kind of on the right-hand side if you're looking at the building. The roof is roughly 75% as well, coming in, dried in. That's it's no hiccups at all, and it's none anticipated yet. The wood trusses, so all of our natural wood, the exposed, that's installed. You can see the colors and all that as you drive by. That's all basically set up and done already. So that'll give you the idea of some of the base colors that are going in the building. A lot of the finished CMU, the architectural design stuff, that's inside the walls already set up. Some of that's going to be protected so you can't see much of it as it's going on, but as a whole, there's really, I have no hiccups. This has been a fairly productive month. The rain hasn't really slowed us down. It's still draining properly. Everything is going along as good as we could expect. But you know, that being said, like I said, 45%, that's it's a pretty good milestone set up. That's about, I mean, that's my report if anyone has any questions.
Great. Any questions for Mr. Robertson? Thanks, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to item 6, HVED presentation. Ms. Markai, you got something for us?
I have a handout. Thank you for inviting me.
Board and public, please allow me to introduce Deb Marcotte. She's the Executive Director of HVED, which is the Hiawatha Valley Educational District.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Deb.
Yeah.
She's here just to give you a brief overview of the HVED district.
And I guess, business management? No, that
Do you
was
want to leave?
secretary?
Do you want to leave me in the 2 other copies?
Okay. If others would like a copy, I'll just let you take one and pass it around. So again, thank you for having me. I have a handout for you to look at. These items are items from our strategic plan that we worked on last year. We've already kicked off another school year. I wanted to highlight the things that are in yellow tonight as I talk through some things. So the first item is communication. We have made some effort in communicating more extensively than we have. Your board rep, Val Howe, has been attending our meetings very regularly and also serves in our seat committee. And we have a meeting coming up now in the end of the month. But each month I do highlights for the board. And so Val, have you been sharing them with the board to some degree?
Not every month.
Not every month. And I also sent it to the superintendents, and it's all just FYI. so you know what's happening with our district. We also do a quarterly board meeting. Quarterly board newsletter. I was reading meeting as I was saying, newsletter. Has that ever happened to you? No. Say something if you're thinking something else. So we've been doing that. Our superintendents get together monthly and our principals get together monthly. So those are ways that we communicate. Our organization, if you look at the diagram or the image there, we're talking about MTSS. MTSS is the new name for RTI. Have you heard of RTI before? In school speak, response to intervention. It's a system whereby if instruction coming out of the general ed teachers at the moment of instruction is not adequate for all students to learn, there are tiers, 2 tiers in fact, of interventions that can be used so that the students learn better. And we're working on that process throughout HFED. So I just wanted to highlight that to you. We've got a couple of dates picked out that we're getting together with a team, at least one team from every district. So that could be from the elementary school, the middle school, or the high school. And they come with a member of the general ed teachers, special ed teachers, the school psych, and the principal. So those 4 groups, or individuals, make up the group. And we just started this process, and this will be ongoing for some time. We're looking to create a structure that will be used throughout HFED to assist students in their learning. All the way from general ed instruction to the eventual special ed IEP, should that be necessary. Then, just a couple of other things. OdysseyWare is a digital curriculum. I don't know if you've heard of digital curriculum before, but it's just what it says. It's available on the website. So we have purchased OdysseyWare, and if you look at the very bottom item, using HFED's economy of scale. I don't know, is Rushford Peterson using OdysseyWare? It is.
Mm-hmm.
You used it before.
No.
No,
We
this is the
started
first.
using it last year, last spring when you guys purchased on the trial basis.
Okay.
We started to use it then.
Okay, very good. So OdysseyWare is a curriculum that we purchased. Some districts, not yours, but some were using it previously, and they were paying $1,000 a seat for the product. When we pool our resources or our need, we purchased this seats this year for $475, which is quite a savings. And we do that because there's, with the number of people buying, we can exercise economy of scale, which allows us to get a better price. So we're doing that with OdysseyWare. And then the other thing I wanted to just mention, last year HFED operated 6 sites throughout HFED. This year we will reduce that to 3. So we have a site in Kellogg, Winona, and Caledonia. We did that as a cost savings measure and management for more efficient and effective operations. Any questions at all? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Item 7, Mr. Mattson, the Chromebook Initiative Program update.
Yes, thank you to the school board for having me this evening. I'd just like to go over the progress so far of the one-to-one program and the initiative that we've been able to adopt this fall. I'll just go over a few points. If you'd like a copy of my notes, I can surely email those or share those with you. And I can do that if you just let me know, I can get those to you. Our first parent meeting was held July 21st. Attendance was good at that meeting. Had some very good parent questions and interactions. Dave from Best Buy was available to come down for that meeting and for the August 17th meeting as well. Parents were able to see examples of the Chromebooks, and we ended that meeting on a very positive note. Anticipating the August 17th meeting, we had much higher attendance at that meeting. Lots more good parent interaction again. We had more demo units on hand at that time for parents to view, ask questions about, and so on and so forth. The web store through Best Buy, as I stated before, opened on August 19th. Purchases were actually being made that night with using coupon and so on and so forth. We did run into a few roadblocks. Thank you, Julie, for pointing those out. There was a mistake in the code that the parents were not able to access, so I was able to log into our information system and send that out to parents through an email, which is another nice option that we've added this year. That store will be open through September 30th. We're doing that in order to allow parents that have either chosen to wait or wanted to make a decision later to actually be able to purchase a device. One thing that we did make a decision on, Dave and I from Best Buy decided that we would also like to keep this available for families that move into the district at a later date as well. So if we have high school families in grades 9 through 12 that move in, we will also afford them the coupon as well to allow them to participate in our program. We had parents and students coming in to view the devices after the meetings. I had examples in the computer lab, very positive reaction to those as well. I was getting contacted in person, on social media, through email and phone, and at my house with questions on this program, which I think is a very positive concept because people were paying attention to what we were attempting to do here. We also ran into some stock issues with the Chromebooks. There were some families that weren't able to access the device that they wanted to purchase for their student. I was made aware of those by Best Buy, and they were able to, get items back in stock very, very quickly. When we did have our staff meetings at the in-services, we did remind the staff that since this is a new program, we really need to exercise some great flexibility here in the timeline when the students are able to get their devices in their hands. They were also reminded at the staff in-service days that there are 4 options available through this program. The first one was to buy a device through Best Buy with the discounted coupon. They were able to lease one through the school district. They were able to bring their own. And there's also the 4th option of the 30-station computer lab downstairs to complete homework if their device has failed or if they just need a place to work. So that's also been maintained as well. And through a generous donation from St. Mary's University, we were able to upgrade that computer lab this summer. So we got 30 systems donated by St. Mary's. So that was a very positive note, again, on top of all the other positives that we've had this year in the tech world for the district. A note about our staff. Our staff has been very excited, receptive. They're really embracing this head on. I've been going around peeking in classrooms, asking staff what their perception of this is. One of the comments that really hit me today was, and I quote, "This has really cut down on my printing being able to utilize this new option." So they're utilizing it through their Google Classroom and they're able to share everything with their students. This initiative has also allowed us to move 54 Chromebooks from this building to the middle school building to provide yet more technology in that building for student use over there. That puts us at well over 100 devices in that building for students to be able to use at any time throughout the day, and the staff is very gracious in sharing back and forth with their classrooms. Just as a reminder, next year with the 17-18 school year, grades 6 through 9 will then be able to do a purchase, so that's going to complete our initiative concept of being this one-to-one program in grades 6 through 12. Staff feedback has been very, very positive, like I had stated earlier. Just a few numbers for you. As of today, I received an email from Best Buy. We have had 111 devices purchased through this program, through the school. That's approximately a 50% take. We've also had 44 devices leased through the district. I was able to order more devices in to fulfill those leases, so as of today, all of the leases have been fulfilled and students have their devices if they've opted in for the lease. That gives us a total take on this program of 155 out of 225 for a 68% adoption of the program. Normally when this is incepted in other districts through Best Buy, it averages anywhere from 50 to 55%. So that's very encouraging to have families grasping this idea. Best Buy has been exemplary to work with. Their education support team, I found from my side, has been just fantastic. I have phone calls and emails in, I get responses in a very short amount of time, and they're able to assist very, very well. I'd also like to just thank the administration, Mr. Bieberdorf and Dave from Best Buy for their support and assistance in getting this program off the ground. Being that it was presented in the spring, we've made some pretty big jumps and decisions in the past months, and I think it's really gone off well, but not without a lot of support from a lot of people. So without their support and help, this would not have been ready day one. So I would welcome any questions or comments from the board at this time, and if there aren't any, I thank you for your time.
Corey, you heard Ms. Nancy Jacobson's concerns. Do you have anything you can tell her, or what your thoughts are?
If I add a little bit for you.
Sure, go ahead.
This might answer some, but just as I was sitting and listening, I've talked to students on it as well, and many of our students have enjoyed it as well, because they said during class, teachers are still teaching, they're not learning from the computer. When they take notes now, teachers, if they have a PowerPoint up there or a Google slide, they can share it with the students, now they can have it up and ready, and they can add their own notes. Many students who in the past, you'd sit there and you'd look at the board and you're trying to keep up, they just said the efficiency there. In terms of downtime, a number of teachers have expressed before it used to be an event if you were going to go from English class and Mrs. Michael, Mr. Mussman were going to type of paper, we'd stop class, you'd have to sign out the lab, you'd walk downstairs, you'd turn the computers on, who knows if they're on or not, then you'd have downtime, where now it can be open your Chromebooks, open your device, let's work, and put it down. So it's just become another tool in the tool belt of many of our staff members. Some of them have used it for a device, or a app, I think we call it, called Pear Deck, that we had a teacher talk about trying, and you kind of see. And it's a way that some students who don't like to, maybe don't like to raise their hand, don't like to answer questions, just kind of are like, I'm not sure if I'm right or not. This Pear Deck is an option where all kids can get feedback. They can put questions up on the board, and then on the board it sees all the kids' answers. It's anonymous. The teacher can see who each kid's name when they logged in answers, but on the board, it's anonymous. It could be an example, we could put the map of the United States up there, and you could say, point out where Austin, Texas is. And all of us could go on our device, and we could put Austin, Texas, and we could see who's right, who's wrong. The teacher can see it, but the students can't. So it gives students that option of they can give that feedback they want in class without worrying about, am I right, am I wrong, I don't want to answer. With Google, a lot of sharing. So we have a lot of students in the English classroom where you do the old, I'm going to write my paper, I'm going to hand it to you, we're going to give feedback. Where now we can work together, where I can type it, I can share it with you, you can share back and share comments. So again, it hasn't become the open your Chromebooks, you sit in there in class and stare at it for 78 minutes. It's very much a tool in the tool belt of our staff. And in the past we've done it, a lot of the assignments have required students in the past to go home and work on them. We've required students, they stay after in the computer labs. During study hall, we have students with their devices open, and again, they're not wasting that class time of going down and using it. And that's some of the other ones, I think that's most of them. But that's right, students, you've kind of asked them. So that's just a couple of the other feedback that I've seen the first couple weeks of class as well. And I don't know I'll speak there about Ms. Mensing-Jacobson's point, I don't know any staff so far that have had an issue of students if they haven't been able to. That's something I know we've went over with our staff too at the in-service was, if a student doesn't have it, you have to have paper copies ready. And we have extra devices in here, so if a staff member, instead of going down, they might know they have a student that needs one, so we've got a few extra Chromebooks, a few extra devices where it can be used in the classroom to type the paper and stuff like that. So our staff has been very open, and with all parents, if they've had questions, we've said just ask the teachers, ask us, and I haven't heard too many from other parents, or a student that they can't get their stuff done.
Anybody else have any?
No, that's perfectly fine.
I guess I do. I'm concerned with the problem that was brought up today, because I think we have to accommodate all students. We have to provide an equal and individualized education. So I'm really concerned how we're going to do that, how we're going to accommodate for this parent or any parent that doesn't want this to happen. And I don't know if I'm feeling that right, but I don't think, what I'm hearing is that the parents don't want to use the technology. They want their child to learn a different way. And whether it be special ed or whatever, we make accommodations for that. I'm hoping that we're able to do that.
And I'd say it's an ever-evolving process, because in the past, we did have a lot of our staff members would use technology for some of their stuff before we had devices in students' hands. And there'd be a number of nights where after practice or you'd go to games and there'd be students in our computer labs at 6:37 at night to try to get the work done if they didn't have the device at home. So this was just another tool to help if a family can bring home a device and use the device so we could get it in their hands at a reduced rate. And we've had a few families that have come and financial concerns that said, I cannot afford a device. And every family that's come to us, we've got a device in their hand. So that's one of the things we've prided ourselves on, is if a family wants the device, we're going to get one for them. If not, we're making the accommodations the same way we did in the past of here's a worksheet on it, stuff like that. We have to accommodate both ways, but there are some staff members, like I said, in the past, the same assignment that was given last year is given this year. We just have to be maybe a little more creative, because now more students have the ability to do it, so maybe teachers are going to maybe do a little bit more because of the efficiency, where we have to figure out how can we. And it's an ever-evolving process, and I know that's what we've talked with parents. I think we said it at every meeting. Every parent that that's been in contact with me and teachers is that it's ever-evolving, and we're learning just like the students are, just like you guys are, that we might make some mistakes, but we're going to keep doing what we can to make it best for every child.
And if I may add to that, this is the first year that we've implemented this program. There are a lot of things that we ran into that I wasn't aware that we were going to run into. Leah's been very good at communicating her concerns with myself and the administration. And I appreciate those emails, because I don't always see things from everybody else's shoes. So I don't know concerns and thoughts until they're emailed into us. So if you would, Leah, please get me those concerns you have from tonight. And I'd like to do some more research on them, talk with the administration, and see if there's a way we can assist you and accommodate your family and come to a common ground so that we can make sure that we do give the equal opportunities that you seek for your children.
And I guess I see this as just not providing.
Dean has a question here.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dave.
Speak.
Sorry about that, it's a little late seeing you. I didn't see your lips moving, but I apologize there. I kind of look at the students as kind of a product. I think the consumer would be academia and the corporate world. And I'm not really getting the feeling that neither of those are asking for people that are less involved in technology. So personally, I think we're going the right way. I think we may have to address some of the minor issues, the individual issues, but as a trend, I think we need to move that way. So
John?
Yeah, and I also agree with that, and that's one of the things I've been pretty supportive of is technology. But I am concerned about the individual also. And when I was listening, it brought to mind, like, say a religious group, say Jehovah's Witness. They don't want to stand for the flag, or they don't want to do this, or don't want to do, say, Easter or Christmas or whatever it might be. We've always made a way of accommodating them without making it unequal that they are also singling themselves or being singled out. So I think it's a very delicate
And that's all we've asked
system.
parents the whole time, is just to let us know the concerns, don't work with them. It's an example of, if a teacher's reading the book To Kill a Mockingbird or something like that, there's families, or Catcher in the Rye was a big one. If families opted out of that, you give them another book, and we didn't just scrap a book because it was real good. We gave them another book and use those same skills. So we're trying to 21st century think of that, of we were choosing not to do this, but how can we work with them to make sure they do get that same education. Assignments might be different, but they're going to be the same core concepts in the end.
Another resource I do have is I have a local technology coordinator and directors group. I can email them and see what they have for ideas with this kind of a concept. And I can report back to Mr. Tim and Mr. Ayler, and we can come up to a solution for this. I don't see a problem with that. I just want to be sure that we're following the correct guidelines and that we have the proper steps in place. Like I said, with the exception of this program, we've come off the ground real fast, and it's going extremely well so far. I'd like to keep that up. And I can talk to the other technology coordinators and directors and see how they've handled this kind of a process in the past.
Good. Any other comments or concerns about the Chromebook initiative? Thanks, Mr. Mattson. Moving on to item 8, the consent agenda. First is the August 15th, 2016 regular board meeting minutes located on pages 3 through 4. A donation from the Quality Deer Management Association, Southeast Minnesota, for archery in the amount of $1,574.30. August hand payables, wires, and payroll amounts in the amount of $250,706.48, located on pages 5 through 6. August payroll in the amount of $232,591.10. September board bills in the amount of $2,575,689.15. That's on pages 7 through 14. And then we have personnel actions, leave of absence request from Samantha Cunningham, the hire of Leandra Anderson, JV winter dance coach, the hire of Abigail Weiser, kids club supervisor, the hire of Alexandria Meldal, kids club supervisor, and there's the additional one, Melissa Schubeck, and that was for
Junior class advisor. And for the board's information, Mrs. Cunningham is our art teacher.
Any questions on anything in the consent agenda? Any concerns?
Copeland made a motion to approve.
Motion by Coe, is there a second? Zero. Any other comments or questions? Not. All those in favor of the consent agenda as stated, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving on to item 9, old business. Approve the second reading and adopt the following policies. Number 413, harassment and violence. 414, mandated reporting of child neglect or physical or sexual abuse. Number 506, student discipline. Number 514, bullying prohibition policy. 522, student sex non-discrimination. Number 410, family and medical leave policy. Number 415, mandated reporting of maltreatment of vulnerable adults. Number 806, crisis management policy. We all had a chance, I believe these were brought over from last month, and everybody had a chance to go through those and make any comments or questions.
And just for the board's information too, Director Iverson and Director Howe came in and met with Laura and myself, and we went through those, and we had some clerical things that needed to be addressed, as well as some consistency in those, and those would have been in red in the documents that we received from Laura. So we feel good about making those more consistent within themselves. So Joyce, anything you want to add, or Val, anything you want to add?
I believe it was cold, but that's.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes it was. I apologize, yes it was, thank you, yeah.
I know I have them
Okay. I'm sorry about that.
I do have a question about the crisis management plans for each building.
Mm-hmm.
Are those plans which we will have a chance to look at? or-
Sure, yeah, we have been tweaking them, and
Okay.
we have them just about ready to roll out, so
Okay.
we'll make sure you get a copy of
Sounds
those.
good.
Any other comments on the second reading of the policies? Not look for a motion to adopt the policies as amended.
I'll make that motion, Iverson.
Motion by Iverson, is there a second?
Copeland, second.
Second by Coe. All those in favor of the approval of the stated policies signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Moving on to item 10 of new business. First, approve the certification of the proposed levy for 2016 payables in 2017 and set the levy rate at the maximum. Mr. Ayler, anything you want to add to that?
Just so that the board and hopefully everybody is kind of aware of this, but MD has provided the school districts with the proposed levy limits. Adjustments and corrections can still be made by the state. By certifying the levy at its maximum, the county will pick up any changes that the MD makes between now and September 30th. So the board really has the authority then to certify the levy at the Truth in Taxation meeting held on December 19th. So,
My understanding is that we cannot increase it, but we can decrease it, right?
right, and the past practice is to assist us with consistency in the budget and to help with everything as it flows for our district is that the majority of the districts set it at its maximum.
Any questions on the proposed levy for the upcoming year? Not, I look for a motion on the certification.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Howe, is there a second?
Iverson, second.
Second by Iverson. All those in favor of setting the proposed levy at the maximum rate for the upcoming year signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item 2, new business, approve the cell phone reimbursement for administrative assistance.
Okay, last month I had to table that because I was waiting to hear from the Employee Support Personnel Unit and they're seeking of an MOU for reimbursement rates, and I've included those in your packet here this month. They're asking for a $25 per month usage, and I've listed each individual as well as the amount of time that they would be utilizing that.
Do they have any questions on the reimbursement for the admin assistant? Not look for a motion to approve.
Copeland, make the motion.
Motion by Coe, is there a second?
Second by Howe.
Second by Howe. All those in favor of approving the cell phone reimbursements for the admin assistant signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
No.
Motion carries. Moving on to the superintendent's report located on pages 15 through 17. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, just a couple of things I'll highlight to you. This school year got off to a great start, and wish to extend my thanks and appreciation to everyone for their help and assistance. And special note of thanks to Bernard Bussing, to Laura Hahn, and to our van drivers transitioning with the new transportation company. Went very well, and it was very smooth. So they did an outstanding job with our transportation needs. So my deep appreciations for everyone's efforts to make that as smooth as possible and going off without a hitch. So very appreciative again. Donations, the Quality Deer Management Association for Southeastern Minnesota is very supportive of archery being taught in our schools, and so that donation is being provided for that purpose. And Mr. Wade and Mrs. Brown and myself and the administration are very appreciative of their support in helping us utilize archery into our PE classes. Wish to publicly extend a thanks to Smith Farms for the donation of trucking of wood chips for our playground area. They do that on an annual basis, and we're very appreciative. along with our thank yous to the Rushford Ambulance Service for the CPR training that they conducted on August 30th and 31st. Lynn Humboldt, Dennis Oberlin, Karen Rizlov, and Evan Meyer provided the training, and staff took advantage of that and are well versed in the proper procedures and protocols to follow when performing the CPR. The baseball press box, we're nearing the completion of that, so special thanks to Corey Baker and his crew, and also you'll notice a special note of thanks there to the volunteers led by Davin Thompson and Dan Milne, Chris Drinkle, Jake Tim, and Joe Hatch, and a few others have assisted with that project, and so we're very thankful for their assistance with that. Just to follow up with what Corey talked about a little bit tonight, a special note of thanks to Corey for the extra time and effort he's put into making everything flow, and his efforts to communicate with families is exemplary, and so again, all of that is thanks to his efforts. Facebook page, we are out on Facebook, and my thanks to Angie Rodenberg, who has kind of led that as a personal thing for her, and she has been very diligent in making sure, working with the administrative team here to make sure that we're able to provide that additional communication tool for our parents. And so again, my thanks to her for her willingness to kind of move that forward for the school district. Hosting of the regional MREA meeting, that will take place this Wednesday, September 21st at 7 p.m. I sent an email out to you asking if you were going to attend, and again, if you haven't already signed up to do so, I would encourage you to do that. MREA is an advocate for education, especially for rural communities and school districts, and they lead the charge as far as the legislative process for our small schools. So I invite you to come in and hear what their platform is going to be moving things forward. Again, that's this Wednesday at 7 p.m. I shared with you the enrollment numbers. We are down 18 students for this school year, and I kind of outlined a little bit of what happened as far as our numbers there, and so again, it kind of accounts for the lower enrollment numbers for this school year. Access easement, we have a mediation session coming up next Monday, and that's to take place at 9 a.m. and John Linder and myself and our school attorney, Joe Langle, will be participating on behalf of the school district in the mediation session. New school update, my thanks to Tim for his diligence in making sure that things are addressed as they arise, and I'm very impressed with everything that Tim has done and continues to do on behalf of the school district. Thanks to his efforts, we are on target, and in fact we're ahead of our game plan, and so we continue to work in a very cooperative and collaborative manner. And as he outlined to the Project Oversight Committee this evening, prior to the board meeting, we will be moving forward with a meeting that will establish the protocols for keying of the new school, as well as getting samples of furniture in for our staff to begin to look at, and some of the things that they can utilize in their classrooms. So again, my thanks to Tim for everything that he's doing and for his continuous efforts. So that's my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions, concerns.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Just two things. First being, it was brought to my attention that an email was distributed from the Cub Scouts to the official emails that were registered with the school. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
I mean, that should not happen.
Okay. I will appreciate you bringing that to my attention.
So, basically they used the school's distro and sent out an email on behalf of the Cub Scouts.
Sure. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Second would be, of those 18 students, does the school reach out to see why they're leaving the school?
Yes, we do. And thank you for that question. We had 3 families, with 3 children each, and You know, that's 9 children right there, and we make efforts, I make personal efforts and calls to all of our families, and of those 3 families, one took a different job in Wisconsin, so that was a move for a job. One family had some issues going on within the family, so there was a different assignment as to who is going to have parental rights of the children. So that accounted for those 3. And as it is the situation for RP schools, we lost another family to a neighboring school district.
Okay, thanks.
But thank you for the follow-up and the questions on that, because we do what I would say due diligence in making sure that we understand why or what is taking place.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from Mr. Bailey?
Yeah, along the same lines, what is our number for open enrollment?
I don't have that with me tonight because we're still finalizing that, so we wait to get that back from MDE, and that doesn't come back to us until about October. So we can share that with you at that time.
Okay, and then I do have a request. I'm on the Transportation Committee, and I would like to have that committee meet. I have a few concerns. Last month, we talked about, we purchased 2 vans. And at that time, I asked how many vans we had, and you told me 8 to 12. I did some searching, and I find that we own 17 vans, a pickup and a car. I find that to be something that the Transportation Committee should take a look at, see if we're running this program efficiency. We only have 7 bus routes, but we have that many extra vehicles. I don't understand it, and so I would like to have that committee meet and go over what they are, and if there is in fact a need for
Okay.
that many. And so I guess the open enrollment number would certainly be important at that time. The Hiawatha Valley Ed to what 3 sites now, Caledonia. I don't know if we'd go to any other sites, but that would be another thing that would be a transportation issue. Those are things I'd like to take a much deeper look at.
Okay, thanks for sharing that concern. We'll get a meeting set up, and we'll be happy to share that information with you.
Any other questions for Mr. Bailey? Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Moving on to the community head report.
Okay.
What's that?
Yep, youth enrichment, our numbers are really strong, and we had a lot of fun last couple of weeks with the Little Rockers at 38. Youth band started last week, we have up to 81 little dancers, so that's the most we've had for quite some time. And then our youth rag flag football it's been a lot of fun. We have 39 boys and girls that are participating in that. Youth tackle football too, Davin's done a really nice job with that new program. 32 boys are enrolled in that, and some girls as well. Adult enrichment, we do have a few things happening there as well. And then the thing I really want to highlight is our ESL class that we started last September 6th. So we had 13 students that participated that evening, and then 17 again on that Thursday evening. And last week, Joyce, were you here last week for that?
Yes.
And so we still had some strong numbers as well last week. So special thank you to all of our volunteers. We have anywhere from 4 to 6 volunteers, I think, so very, very nice. Adult recreation, Rachel Nelder is our new adult rec instructor. She started last week. We had 14 in each of those classes, so that's the most 2 that we've had for quite some time, so it's been fun. Kids Club highlights, 52 families are enrolled. Our average numbers are 9 in the morning, except like last Thursday, we had 14 students that showed up in the morning, so that's growing as well. 30 in the afternoon. Preschool's going really well. Kindergarten prep is going really well. That's our extension of our preschool program. We have 10 children participating in that. ECFB started off strong with Tracy Agerson stepping in and teaching on Friday morning. She had 5 families last Friday morning, and tonight we have it happening right now, so I'm not sure how many we have, but I know we have at least 2 or 3 families coming for sure. So our screening is on September 30th from 8 to 3, and that'll be an all-day event.
Any questions for Ms. Lawson?
I just have to say, last week's football game with the little dancers, I'm not sure which one they are here. Are they the little rockets?
Little
or the
rockers.
youth?
Little
Yeah.
Rockers.
Little
Yeah.
rockers?
38 of them.
Adorable.
Yeah.
And you should have heard the crowd buzz, because all of a sudden you see this mob of children walking across the bridge. And you're like, what's going on? And then they were just adorable, and the enthusiasm they had, it was really great.
Thank you.
So,
Lori Bowers in charge of that.
Oh,
and
yeah, she did a great job.
The girls. Yeah.
I mean, the older girls were good volunteers.
Mhm,
And they were
absolutely.
doing a great job too.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Lawson. Elementary middle school principal report on pages 20 and 21.
Okay, thank you. The top thing we have is our elementary middle school students. We're trying to do our yearly testing, which was Ames Web last year. This year we've changed to Fast Bridge. And there has been some glitches in the system here, but Shannon, Margaret, and Kelly are working hard to get this through. This is one of the ways we reach out to our students in need, whether they need intervention services or title program. Like I said, there has been some computer glitches. They ended up taking the test on paper pencil today, and we're hoping that our students are enrolled, so tomorrow morning we can start on the computer. They're very intelligent women, I have to say, and they're very determined to make this work, so I'm very proud of all 3 of them to not give up. A little frustrated at times, but they talk through and they're working hard to do what's best for our students, so I'm proud of them. Our STARS program, we're doing a little differently this year. We're doing 1 STAR student per month per classroom, so that the students really know why they are receiving this award. Again, STARS is self-responsibility, teamwork, attitude, respect, and safety. They were, our first round was this past Friday, and instead of our little squishy star this year, we reached out to the Creamery for ice cream scoop, little trinket things that they can, and they gave us a little deal on that, the Creamery did, and then I reached out to Mike Hansen at State Farm, and they donated those for the year for our students. And when I talked to him, I talked to Terry Benson as well, and they were like, oh, this sounds like fun, this might be something, and then the next day, immediately, they came through with it and showed up with 15 of the little trinket things so they can go in, and the kids were pretty excited this year. They again get the certificate and the pencil, and of course the call home from Mr. Tim or myself, so it's a very, very positive thing, and the students were awfully excited. It will be in the paper coming up shortly, and pictures on the bulletin board again, so it's a great thing. Our safety patrol, which is so important for the buses on morning and night. We have 31 fifth graders this year, which is wonderful, and they love it. They get excited, and they don't like being a little late, so they come cruising through sometimes with those flags. Our middle school student council, you can see all the names listed. They're up and running and ready to go, and with the this week being homecoming, they have plans for that. Next week is going to be the pumpkin bowl at the middle school, so that's even more exciting for the middle school student council and the students, I believe. The kindergarten classes and 6th grade are both going on field trips already, which they're traditional trips to the Preston Apple and Dairy Farm, and then they go to Lanesboro to the park to eat and play, and the 6th grade going to Forestville State Park. So those, like I said, are traditional things for those 2 grade levels. Open house again, we haven't been since then, just wonderful turnout on both ends. The 6th grade, everyone was there, parents and students, and it started to get a little warmer, and like, get a little warm, let's get started. So that's what we did there, but a lot of good questions again, and the kids are excited. A few were having problems with their blockers, and I didn't get one either, so I sent Holly out there, and she got it right away, so. But it's all learning. Our chip shop fundraiser is on right now until next Thursday. They turn them, as they do every year, raise money, bring them in. They get little rewards if they get certain amounts. the money that is raised goes to our PI, and the teachers can put in PI grants in the spring of the year for anything they have. Our backpack program will be starting soon. We're encouraging families to use that as one option for a little support at home for the weekends. And I was in the elementary classrooms today, and they're all getting excited for the homecoming parade coming up. I know the assembly is pretty amazing too. Last year was a lot of fun, and the parade, though, they're working on what they're going to do and how they're going to carry it. And it looks like rain, and one of the teachers told me a few years ago when it was raining, before I was here, they walked the halls of the school, the kids did with their parents for the parade, so. Mr. Ayler said we're not going to have rain for the parade, so we're going to be good. So, any questions I can answer?
Questions for Mr. Shepherd? Thank you. Mr. Tim, high school principal's report?
Thank you. To start there, you see our high school ACT results from last year. Those are last year's graduating seniors. So students generally take the ACT as a junior. They can retake it as a senior if they choose, or anytime if they choose. And then we always get back from ACT our results after the graduating class goes through. This graduating class that just graduated, that was the first time that the state of Minnesota kind of required that all juniors take the test. So you see the scores for a lot of places went down, a little below the state average there. Definitely something to look at. Our staff kind of looked at those and determined the toughest thing for us is, as last month I did MCA results for you. The ACT and the MCA don't really like to talk to each other, and trying to always find out from the staff members and working through of making sure we prepare our kids for an MCA test, an ACT test, as well as prepare them for anything else they should choose to do. So it's just another one of those things, that another hoop we jump through as we go through. The second line there is college career readiness results. So ACT sends something out saying if students get certain scores in each area, the likelihood that they can get a C or higher, a 50% chance of getting a B or higher, and a 75% chance of getting a C or higher if they enroll in freshman college right away when they took it. So those students there, well, 50% of our kids, in English and math, 35 in reading area, which is kind of like a social studies type class. They go to college, 35% in science, and then 27% of our kids would be able to get a B or higher or C or higher if they took a college class while in high school. College credit opportunities. Another thing we do just to help our students, and it's kind of the big push of get college credits while they're in high school. We work very closely with Southeast Tech. It's no longer Southeast Tech, it's Minnesota State Southeast, I believe is what they've kind of changed their name to. Those classes there listed, the stats, pre-calc, AP Lit, human bio, sociology, and college writing. Those classes are taught by a high school staff member that's went and met with, they have a partner faculty member up at Minnesota State Southeast that they meet with. They meet in the spring, they meet in the fall, they go together. It's pretty much our class almost mirrors a class they have up there in those areas. Based on that, in the end, those students will get a grade in their high school class as well as a grade from Minnesota State Southeast. And then at the end, they get a transcript from Minnesota State Southeast that says Introduction to Statistics and the grade they've got on it. And then when they apply to colleges, or if they go anywhere, they can bring those and say, I've got this many credits. And the colleges take them and leave them. It works like any transfer credit would if they went to, let's say they went to Minnesota State Southeast. When they graduated college, they get the same exact transcript, so it doesn't look any different. Our AP courses there, those are advanced placement courses. Those they teach all year and in the spring. Students take an exam, and based on that exam, they can score anywhere from a 1 to a 5. If they can score a 3, 4, 5, they generally get college credit. Again, they bring those results to the college that they apply to and say, here's what I scored, can you give me college credit for it or not? And every college is kind of different in how they do that. PSEO, we have 2 full-time students and 2 part-time students, and those students are, they don't spend time, the full-time one's not on our campus, part-time some here, some not, and they take college classes from Winona State, St. Mary's, Northwestern, you name it, they're a college student. Just in high school, we've had some students who've got many college credits doing that. Contracted PSEO, that used to be a program with the Minnesota State Southeast that was online college classes, so they'd give us 4 or 5 online classes we could choose from. Worked a partnership with them to help keep some of our students in other neighboring districts, students that were going to PSEO classes, going to St. Mary's, Winona State, stuff like that for the classes. We're now the student takes it online here. So we have 11 students who are taking advantage of that, and it's a number of classes they get to sign up. So 1 hour of their day, instead of taking it in the classroom, they sit in the library, and it's an online class. They have a teacher from Minnesota State Southeast that they communicate with, that teaches a class that they ask questions for. So it's another way of learning for some of them. And then we have articulation agreements, which aren't necessarily, are a little bit different. They don't work at like every college, but for the first one, their child development, they take a test, they get a certificate that says they scored 70% or higher on this NOCTI test. They can bring that. Some colleges take that, some don't. It's not a true transcript. It's just a kind of certificate saying I took this course. Minnesota State Southeast takes it. I know we had a student who went to Northern Iowa a few years ago, and they took it as replaced an elective class that they didn't need to take. So maybe not a core, but an elective class. Our new class there, the healthcare core, we have 10 students in there, and that's the maximum number of students we can take. Our partnership with Minnesota State Southeast there is that in the end they will give the CNA licensure exam for the students up at their course to take it. That's been a course we've worked through, and I know we've talked about it a couple times, to the point our annual Perkins meetings, we've kind of get some funding for some of those hands-on CTE classes. We have our annual meeting that on October 11th. And our leader for our consortium, our area, has asked myself and then Aaron Thompson to speak at that for about 30 minutes on the course and how we've come to it, because it's a unique course that not many schools do, and just saying, hey, here's a new program we tried, we're up and running and going through the steps. There's a lot of work with MDE and the Department of Health and stuff like that to get this course up and running. We also have our welding class. That's another certification class that if a student goes to Southeast Tech, they can show that they did it and they'll get credit for their welding class. And then we have 2 classes that I forgot to write on there that we started last year. An Intro to College Algebra, and then some other students that are in English 12, where when students take an AccuPlacer test in their college, and you can take remedial classes. We've got a partnership with Minnesota State Southeast again, that if students take these classes and they scored at a level where they needed remediation, they can take these classes as a senior here, and if they get a B or higher, that counts as their remediation. They can walk right into a diploma level math class at Minnesota State Southeast, which is a nice partnership. So instead of students having to take a remedial class at college that doesn't count for credit really towards graduation, but they have to pay for it, they can take it here in high school, and we can help prepare them a little bit there. Open house, Mrs. Shepherd talked about that. There's a few students there, Abby Weiser, Ellen Nelson, Hallie Bauer, and Logan Quimby, who gave tours to our freshmen, which was a great thing. Our learning communities, which we meet with, all grades do, or all staff members do, all 3 buildings. They have an individual growth and development goal that each staff member writes for themselves throughout the year, and then they have a measure of student growth goal. So a goal based on data, based on assessment that they write for themselves that we review during the year multiple times. Our site and lead teachers who kind of lead our PLCs on the 22nd of this week, or on Thursday of this week, the 22nd, are up to MDE to attend a workshop on peer review and giving peer feedback, because all of our staff members are evaluated or observed twice by a peer throughout the school year, and they're going and getting some more feedback, more expertise in that area, so we can give positive feedback to our staff members so we can continue to grow. Homecoming, Glow with the Flow is the theme that they went with this year. It's going to be kind of interesting. I think on Saturday it's going to be a very neon-y, beachy theme, underwater theme in the gym on Saturday night, so it's going to be kind of cool, kind of neat. So tonight, coronation at 7 o'clock, so leaving here in the theater, we've got our king and queen candidates. Tomorrow night, girls play a home game versus Lewiston Altura here. Royalty will be announced. Thursday, big day, the Pep Fest, pre-K through 12. So we get all 661 plus some preschool kids, almost 680 kids, 690 kids in the gym, and we have a big old Pep Fest, a big old party, and last year was a huge success and a lot of fun. So hopefully that's again. Volleyball and cross country play on Thursday. Friday, our parade at 2:30. Game, and then we have a dance on Saturday. So, and lots of events, dress-up day, stuff like that. Today was costume day, and we had staff members who were dressed up. We had preschoolers who were dressed up, and high school students, elementary, everybody. So trying to make it a much more Rushford Peterson Schools homecoming week instead of focusing just on the high school or just on a homecoming game, football game. It's been a real push the last couple of years, and last year was a little step. This year we're making a big one, and next year we're all together. I think even another big step that'll be there. So. Then at the bottom, just a lot of upcoming activities and events that we have going through the rest of the year, or the rest of this calendar year through Christmas. So, entertain any questions you guys have as well.
Students that gain a certificate in welding, are they job ready then?
Nope, it's, how that articulation class works is Mr. Lind has met with, and we've met with Southeast Tech, and they get a certificate, so that if they went to Southeast Tech, they would be able to say, I took welding, that's pretty much the same welding as your welding, so do I need to take your intro to welding, or can I take the second level of welding? So then they save themselves a 3-credit class there, $600 to $800, that then they don't have to take that class there, they can just, it counts as credit for them.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Tim? Thank you. Mr. Beaverdorf, moving on to activities director report.
All right, thank you. Starting off, you can see the annual meeting. That was something that took place last week. Apologize for my head cold here. September 14th in Stewartville, we had 12 coaches plus Superintendent Naylor attend, representing Rushford-Peterson schools. It's kind of a dual meeting. We have Three Rivers Conference meeting first, and then the Section 1 or Region 1, depending on how you want to call that, the meeting after that. It's a great time to network with other coaches, network with other schools, depending on the activity. We recognize past champions, so as far as for Rushford-Peterson, it was recognized for our boys golf team being conference champs, and then the superior ratings that we received in choir and band last year. And then we break out in the breakout sessions, depending on the activity, discuss conference matters at the first part of it, and then transition into the second part of the meeting, led by Brad Johnson. He gives us the overall status of the Section 1 activities. He shared the very healthy financial position. That's based on attendance at the 2015-16 tournament activities. As part of that, they have kind of a profit sharing system that goes back, so we actually received approximately $3,200 back based on the number of miles. We submit mileage that, so it's mileage reimbursement for the activities that we participate in. So that was something from that. And then I also note that there's a final meeting coming up at the end of the month, which is the annual Region 1 Minnesota State High School League banquet, which will be in Rochester, and I'll be attending that as well. The fall activities, we've already talked on some of that. Off to a great start. We mentioned some of the activities taking place like at our home football games. We've had, on the first game of the year, we had our Mat Club successfully have their brat feed, their annual brat feed, which is a fundraiser for them, and that was very well supported. September 9th was the Booster Club pulled pork feed. We had kind of questionable weather leading into that. Got the game off, and it ended up being a great night. Very happy with, or they were very happy with the support that was shown for them. We also, as we mentioned, the Little Rockers as well as fall dance team, and then also took advantage of squeezing in another thing there, recognizing the 2006 state championship team at halftime as well. That was a 10-year anniversary of that. The upcoming games, we've got homecoming game coming up this Friday. We'll have the band as well as the fall dance team performing at halftime of that. The following home game, which will be October 7th, we'll have the youth football team playing at halftime. So kind of fun activities there. Looking through my other events down there, you can see that I've got Parents Night for the volleyball team, as well as Senior Night noted on the dates for those, cross country. The Lewiston home meet serves as the Parents Night over there, but they're also, we recognize them here at our final home football game. So Parents Night, Senior Night for football will also be on that October 7th. And then I've got the dates noted for when the playoffs start, which is kind of a quick transition. I think we're already halfway through some of our fall activities and looking into the tournament season coming up ahead here. So I know Mr. Tim noted a lot of the other things. One thing I noticed that wasn't elementary music concert was also December 15th, but otherwise busy slate of activities all throughout the fall here. So entertain any questions you guys may have.
Any questions for Mr. Beaverdorf? Thank you. Okay, coming up next month will be at the middle school in Peterson for our meeting on Monday, October 17th at 5:30 p.m., which will be followed by a walkthrough immediately following the meeting. With that, look for a motion to adjourn.
Cool, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Coe.
Second by Iverson.
Second by Iverson. All those in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.
You're quick on that motion, Julie.
Yeah,
That's somewhere to
right,
be.
was I?